everything has a spirit, because everything that is made, either made by man or made by God, or the Creator, whatever you want to call him. The tree, it was your old man's first child, and he says so. So on down the line. This table was made by somebody. It has a life to it. It was made for a purpose. So it's got that spirit in it. And in our people, in our spiritual people, could talk to these different things. And they would get an answer from them. There was two old ladies lived over in Goose Valley a long time ago. Not too long ago either, but 60 years ago. And one of them stole a shawl from the other old lady. And the other old lady looked for it, and she couldn't find it. And she looked and she looked. And she finally went and asked my grandfather. She said, Samson, she said, do you think you could find my shawl? He said, I will look for it, he said. So he sat down in the house and was singing his little song tunes. And that's the way they call their power, you might call it, or call something from the supernatural world. And he said, while he was singing, he was talking to the door. He was talking to the outside. And he said he asked the tree that stood in front of the house. He said, did you see that shawl go by here? And the tree said, no, it never went by. So he went to the back door and he asked a big rock back there. He said, did you see that shawl go by here? And the rock said, no, it never went by here. It never went. So he asked different things around. And finally he asked the star. And the star said, if you look in that other woman's trunk, he said, right in the bottom, you'll find it. So he told that woman what he said. She took her little hatchet, she went over there and knocked the lock off of it, took it out, found her shawl. Then there was another, and this happened in 1923, I guess it was. My grandfather and two other men went down to San Francisco to see if they could raise money to help their people. When they went down there, they met a man on the street. He had a new coat with him, packing it, and he sold it to one of these three. And he left, and when he left, well, after he left, the cops came along and they asked, where did you get this coat? And they said, we bought it from a man. He said, no, the coat was stolen. It's still got the tags on it. It was stolen. If you can tell us who you got it from, we can turn you loose. If you can find the man. There's no half chance of that. So they took him in jail. One of the men, he said to my grandfather, he said, do you think you could find it if you looked? My grandfather said, I will try, I will look. So he sat down in the corner and he was singing his little song. Everything that they did, they had to sing and use their tobacco with it. And he said, yes. From where we were, he said, that man went down and he went across the street and went across another street, and he's sitting in the bar room over there. Sitting there, he said, and he's the only man sitting there. And when we find him, he said he will have a glass halfway to his mouth. The cops laughed, but they took him anyway. They went down there, and when they walked in the bar, this man had a glass halfway to his mouth. So he went up and asked him, he said, "Did you sell this coat to these men?" And he said, "Yes, I did." So they turned the three loose, and they arrested that man. That's the kind of powers or the things you can get if you go out on the mountain, fast and pray and ask for it. So then if you read the Bible, you'll find that all the old prophets had to go out on the mountain, fast and pray to get their power, even to the Christ himself. The Christ went out and he fasted and prayed for 40 nights and 40 days. John the Baptist, 30 nights, 30 days, and so on. And our people still practice that way.